Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. I want you to picture a completely normal night back in 2010. It's an ordinary evening in America, right? Families are hanging out in their living rooms, maybe watching the late night news, or just winding down with their favorite TV shows. Everything is completely routine, right? Up until the exact moment it isn't.
That unexpected night forces us to ask a pretty wild question. How can a multi-million-dollar machine refuse to stay dead? It's the core of this massive space mystery we're diving into today. We're looking at a machine that, by all accounts, suffered a catastrophic failure. It absolutely should have been dead, but it just flat out refused to shut down.
Section 1. The night screens went dark.
So, back in those living rooms, the TV screens suddenly start glitching out. The picture breaks apart into pixels, the audio stutters, and within seconds, everything just goes completely black. Now, most families probably assumed, it's just a local cable outage. But actually, this was a threat to the entire global communication network. Hundreds of miles away, in a high-tech control room, the blood was literally draining from the faces of aerospace engineers. They knew instantly that a major event had just occurred in space, and if they couldn't stop it, the ripple effect wouldn't just kill one single TV signal. It could realistically bring down the world's communication infrastructure.
Section 2. Birth of a zombie satellite. To see how this all started, we have to rewind the clock a bit to October 13th, 2005. On that day, a highly advanced supercritical communication satellite named Galaxy 15 launched flawlessly into the sky. It went up from the Kourou spaceport in French Guiana on an Ariane 5 ECA rocket. It was stationed perfectly in orbit at an incredible altitude of 36,000 kilometers above Earth. From that fixed vantage point, its job was just to effortlessly beam television channels, transmit data, and support comms across a massive chunk of North America. And for years, everything was great. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. That is, until this fateful date, April 5th, 2010. A massive solar storm hits. Look, the sun gives us life and light, sure, but it also occasionally and violently ejects these huge waves of invisible energy out into space. On this particular day, one of those powerful solar storms slammed directly into Earth's orbit, and unfortunately, the intense energy from that storm took a severe toll on Galaxy 15's electronics.
At first, engineers on the ground figured it was just a standard technical glitch, but they quickly realized there is a huge difference between a harmless dead satellite and a zombie. The control room was sending command after command, getting absolutely nothing back. But when they analyzed the telemetry data, total silence fell over the room. The satellite wasn't dead. Its batteries were fully charged, the solar panels were generating power, the onboard computer was active, and it was actively blasting out radio signals. It was entirely alive, just completely ignoring any instructions from Earth. This quote honestly captures it perfectly. Like a runaway car with no brakes, no driver, but the engine is still running. Just imagine the sheer terror of that for a space engineer. You've got this massive, heavy piece of tech hurtling along, engine roaring, but absolutely no one at the steering wheel. This rogue, uncontrollable state is exactly why the media and the space industry quickly dubbed Galaxy 15 the zombie satellite.
Section 3. A runaway train in space. Because the danger here was just getting started. Up there at 36,000 kilometers, Galaxy 15 was definitely not alone. It shared that orbit with hundreds of other satellites, each one staying safely in its own strict, fixed lane. But now, our zombie was slowly drifting right out of its designated parking spot. It was turning into a slow-motion weapon. And as it drifted, the immediate fear wasn't even a physical crash. The real nightmare was its active transponder. Since it was still blasting out radio signals, if it drifted too close to another satellite, it would cause severe radio interference. We are talking about total TV broadcast loss, massive communication link failures, and forced evasive maneuvers by other companies who literally had to move their hardware completely out of the zombie's path.
It literally became a walking threat to the entire industry. Back on Earth, the tension in that control room was unbelievable. Engineers weren't even blinking. Their eyes were glued to the radar screens, agonizingly watching this small white dot slowly drift toward a sea of other white dots. Day after day, the whole world watched and wondered whose multi-million-dollar satellite Galaxy 15 was going to threaten next.
Section 4. The 8-month silence.
So we enter this period of absolute agonizing helplessness. From the moment that Solar Storm hit in April 2010 all the way to November, 8 long months of absolute silence. It perfectly contrasts the incredibly high-speed nature of space travel with the painful reality of human waiting.
The engineers, clinging to basically a 1% chance of hope, sat in that control room day after day, constantly firing commands into the void. Send a command. Wait. Silence. Try again. It was a brutal waiting game. But then, in December 2010, an engineer sent yet another routine command, expecting absolutely nothing.
Section 5. The Unexpected Awakening.
Out of nowhere, a data packet blinked on the monitor. Then a second, then a third. The entire control room completely erupted in joy. The satellite that had ghosted them for 8 months was suddenly talking back. It was accepting commands again. But, the engineers had to reel in their excitement and proceed with extreme caution. One wrong move right then, and they could lose it forever. They painstakingly verified the power, the orientation, the comm systems. So how on earth did it suddenly wake up? Well, let me introduce the unsung hero of this story. The Watchdog Timer. This is a built-in security tool designed to trigger a system reset after a set period of inactivity. It was sitting deep inside Galaxy 15's programming, silently and patiently ticking away in the background the entire time the engineers were panicking. Here is exactly how this saved the day. Step 1. The solar storm scrambles the satellite's communication control. Step 2. The Watchdog Timer realizes the system is locked up and begins a silent countdown. Step 3. The timer finally expires after months of waiting. And Step 4. It triggers a hard reset of the onboard computer. Just like restarting a frozen laptop, simply giving it time allowed the machine to fix itself. And this became a space event that forever changed future satellite designs. The whole world, from the US and Europe to India, China, and Russia, had been watching this bizarre event unfold. It was a massive wake-up call to the industry, proving that sometimes the absolute scariest thing isn't a machine dying. It's a machine remaining uncontrollably alive, like a patient in a coma who is still walking around. Section 6. Death, Legacy, and Return. Now, Galaxy 15 actually went right back to work after its reset. It functioned normally for years. Fast forward to 2022, and it finally suffered a fatal electrical failure. It officially died, its transponders stopped for good, and the zombie was finally laid to rest, becoming just another dead rock in orbit that no longer threatens other signals. But the real terror of this whole ordeal was a multi-million-dollar machine totally defeated by invisible energy. We think of ourselves as so advanced, building these incredible networks in the stars. But this story proves just how fragile human control truly is when faced with the raw, invisible power of our own sun. It is definitely a humbling reminder of our place in the universe. Which brings us to a really fantastic quote from the creator of Tech Icon, the channel where this source material actually originated. They said, "We are back, just like that satellite." And honestly, this unexpected return to life is a brilliant metaphor. Just like Galaxy 15 went dark and silent for a long time, the channel itself took a multi-year hiatus, leaving its audience basically listening to static. But just like Galaxy 15, Tech Icon is back online. The creator warmly reassures the audience that the signal was never completely lost. They didn't forget the password or anything. Life just took them away for a bit, and they just needed a reset. The channel is back to transmitting signals, perfectly merging the suspenseful space narrative with a really nicely timed personal channel update.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. What other zombie mysteries is space still hiding from us right now? I mean, if a machine can die, come back to life, and wander orbit completely on its own, what else is out there drifting in the dark, just waiting to wake up? Keep looking up, because the mysteries are far from over.